Oh, yeah. Let's see if we can fix oh, I should probably have oh well, I'll be right there. I was just thinking in regards of adultery. It is one of these subjects that is one of yep, let's have camera on. Yep, there we go. And I don't really need the mobile to anything, but I was looking in regards of Matthew. There was 2 places in Matthew in regards of, maybe I can actually find it here. There we go. So I was just thinking here, reading, this is Jesus. Maybe we should take the context of it. And the Pharisees came to him, trying him and saying to him, "Is it right for a man to put away his wife for every reason?" The thing is, in the Torah, it talks about, in regards of Moses allowing divorce. But Jesus sets the standard a little up, like he, usually does. And he answered, answering said to them, "Did you not read that he who made them at the beginning made them male and female?" And of course, we just need to read the first pages of the Bible in regards to that. And was it just chapter 3 or something like that? I'm not sure, but it's in the beginning where it talks about the male and female and all that. Anyway, said, "For this cause a man..." I'm actually not sure if it's also in the... So they become one team, has joined together, or God, or the gods. I'm not sure in regard, because they should translate from the Greek. I'm not sure if they have used the Peshitta as well, but they use the plural form of God in the text here, Elohim. But anyway, Elohim has joined together, let man not separate. So he says, well, what Jehovah has put together, certificate of divorce, and to put her away, because it was allowed according to the Torah, that you can put away your wife if you have an issue with her. You can give her a certificate of divorce. And I think in regards I think it's Peter's reaction. I'm thinking, living with a woman is not, she can drive you crazy, just anyway. He said to them, "Because of the hardness of your hearts, Moshe allowed you to put away your wives." Now it's not the wives, but the men that are allowed to put away their wives. "But from the beginning it was not so. And I say to you, whoever puts away his wife, except on the grounds of whoring," and that would be adultery, "and marries another, commits adultery. And adultery, if I remember correctly from the law, is reason for stoning." So, you already, as understanding, you already have an issue here. Because if you are in a marriage and you divorce your wife on any other reason than her committing whoring and adultery, well, then you are committing adultery, and adultery is equal to stoning. So if you marry another, then your first wife, which is still your wife, it seems, if she hasn't committed any whoring, then you are committing adultery, and thereby you can actually be stoned, it seems. Because, in regards to the Torah, so that there's some weight to the word adultery, and whoever marries her who has been put away commits adultery. And again, that would be, both of them, stoned according to the law. So it sets the it sets the scale pretty high in some sense, you know. If so, of course, we have a lot of divorces, and of course, we have people that have sex outside marriage. We have a lot of problems in regards to these things. Of course, I pretty much set it back to 5 minutes or something like that. Yeah, timeout. It's funny because, oh, well, not funny, it's typical. You know, you have like 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, and 5 minutes. And 2 minutes is too little, I think. And 5 minutes is too much. But anyway, of course, I really wouldn't need it if it didn't turn on when I actually connected it to the power. Then it just turns on the screen. Pretty stupid, because it's only charging quickly when the screen is turned off. So anyway, that's the technology lunacy in some sense. But this was one of the places where it is actually Matthew 19, 7, 8, 9. Maybe it's it starts from actually 3, where the Pharisees comes around. And so here Jesus is heightening the scale as he usually does. It's, you know, let's see if we can search maybe adultery. Because I think this, you know, he's already talking about adultery another place in regard of Matthew 5, I think it is. Let's just take not entire Bible, New Testament. And here we go. Yeah, Matthew 5:27. Now, of course, the book of Matthew is the book that the Nazarenes used. The first believers in Yeshua that was condemned as heretics by the Western Christians, apparently, because they kept the law. Yeah, they did what their master did. So, you know, to condemn them as heretics seems... I'm reading this book on the Nazarenes. You probably cannot see it because it's really a scholarly book, and, you know, but it has, you know, every time it has some sources. It has, like, on the bottom, it has like, I remember when I was, you know, in school, higher school education thing, where every time you had a source or something like that, you needed to show where the source was from and quote a little of it or something like that. And that's what he pretty much is doing in this. But, you know, there's a lot of things where I'm thinking, you know, I don't really, you know, he's going on with things that's really not necessary, I think, not really that important. But anyway, you know, that's, you take what there is. I found 2 sources in regards of, interesting sources in regards of Paulus or Shaul, in regards of, now he talks about Shaul actually, you know, Jerome apparently supporting that the Nazarenes accepted Paulus or Shaul, but there are 2 other sources that seems to disagree with that. Now the guy writing this book apparently accepts Jerome's and not the other 2. But we know all Asia left Shaul, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Nazarenes actually ended up rejecting Paulus. But anyway, let's see if we can find it. It's apparently harder to find than I thought. I should have marked someplace. Oh, maybe it's a little... Yeah, here we go. As one source. Now, of course, we're actually taking another subject, but this is from what is this from? That's a good question. Both Celsus and Origen show a first-hand acquaintance with the viable Jewish Christian community. He admitted, moreover, that there are some who accept Jesus and who boast on the account of being Christians, and yet would regulate their lives like the Jewish multitude in accordance with the Jewish law. That would be the, you know, what do you call it, Mosaic law, you know, the law of Moses, the law of Jehovah, and human beings. Now, so we have these two Jewish groups that seems to be going again and again. I'm still reading, but anyway, so it goes forward to say in the source section. See also verse 16 in Jesus' origins. Yeah, okay. See also verses 6-5 where origin mentions a plurality of rights. In Isaiah 9:1 is like a thing to and he talks a little more about it. There's another place, but if it's actually if he's talking have any this thing I have in regards of the internet is I used it all, and the other mobile thing I had, you could actually continue to use the storage thing, the network, but apparently not with this thing. I should probably never have changed over, but you know, stupidity sometimes. Anyway, they taught that the letters of the apostle, that would be Paulus, say it's Paulus of information forward, and you know. Anyway, Jesus is saying here, and I should make this a little smaller. Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery. And think about it, adultery, again, if you go to the law of Moses, it's stoning reason. You know, you stone both people that have committed adultery. You know, but I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her, had committed adultery with her already in his heart. So already there we are having a problem in regards of sin. And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee, for it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into Gehenna. And that's, again, they translated it as hell. It's a bad translation in regards of translating to hell, because there are two different. Cast it from thee, for it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into Gehenna, or lake of fire. I have just had a little problem with my leg here. Anyway, it had been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. So he's talked. This is another place where he talks about it. But I say to you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication. Here they use the fornication word here, but porneia, whoring, you know, porneia, yeah. Illicit sexual intercourse, adultery, fornication. You know, it's a wide word in regards of porneia. In the case of fornication or whoring, fornication causes her to commit adultery, and whosoever shall marry her divorce committed adultery. So here we see the same thing again and again, that is divorced committed adultery. So again, whosoever marries someone that has been divorced by a letter committed adultery. So for the case of fornication, if your wife have sex with another man, that's already stoning reasons. I mean, so in some sense, an act of mercy. Yeah, of course, one can also forgive the person, but you know. Anyway, again, ye have heard that it had been said by them of old time, thou shalt not. This is not in regards to that. So, of course, one could go to the law of Moses in regards of adultery. It's also one of the 10 commandments, of course. But the punishments of adultery, reason, you know, the punishment for it is, the punishment is death. So if you have sex with another man's wife, that's reason for being put to death, pretty much. So, yeah. See, Pentateuch. Where do I see the search thing here? I need to turn it off here. Oh, there we go. Let's see what we can find in the King James. Thou shalt not commit adultery. And the man that committed adultery with another man's wife, even he that committed adultery with his neighbor's wife. They use the neighbor, and thou shalt love thy neighbor, and of course thy enemy as well. That's Jesus putting forward in regards of refining the laws in some sense, or heightening the laws. Of course, neighbor, of course, that's also a neighbor. Yeah, that's anyway. With his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. So we have Exodus 20:14 and Deuteronomy 5:18. Neither that thou commit adultery. You shouldn't commit adultery. It's one of the 10 commandments. But again, you can, and the man that committed adultery with another man's wife, even he that committed adultery with his neighbor's wife, is saying the same thing just twice. The adulterer and the adulterers shall surely be put to death. Does it say how you actually are putting them to death? And the man that lied with his father's wife had uncovered his father's nakedness. Both of them shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. So anyway, and there's other in regards of sexual things and all that. But so if adultery already, leads to being put to death, and I think it's by stoning, but I don't have that at the... So, in regards to the book of Matthew, when Jesus say, adultery, you should already think, adultery, that's like being murdered. No, what do you call it? Not murdered. Murdered is another thing. Killed, because, you have transgressed the law of God, and thereby it's not murder, it's justice. So if you think adultery, you should in some sense be thinking put to death. And again, I think it's by stoning. You take both of them. I think there's should be something in the Torah about it, where you take both of them and you stone them for You also see that in actually one of the stories outside the Bible, in regards to the Apocrypha, in regards of Susan, I think it's, and she's actually, she's going to be put to death. But of course, the two so-called rabbis, or elders, I think it's actually elders, two Jewish elders, was bearing false witness, and thereby they were put to death when they were exposed. So, you shouldn't do false witness either, because you will get the sentence that the other person should get, and so forward. And so anyway, I think it's because when we look at in regards of Christian sources, it also talks about, only one marriage in some sense. And if you're not following one marriage, you shouldn't remarry, So it's like stay together with the person, or of course, if they commit fornication, of course, it seems to be actually a legal ground to divorce at that point. That's the only reason for a legal divorce, as I can see it. That's if the other partner has already committed adultery, and thereby would actually already be stoned or be put to death. And thereby you will, of course, be free to find another. So that's in some sense. But really, high standards, because, as Jesus says, one flesh, and no one should take apart what God has made into, one flesh. So that was just a little... that's getting darker. Do I actually have the... There we go. Do I have the somewhere? Nope. Anything else? I don't think there was much else. Just going to continue to read a little more of the Nazarenes, and that's pretty much it. Where is my controller for the light? Seems it's gone. Oh. Now it's can't find it. Oh yeah, it's not easy with a controller when it's just lost. Anyway, that was just a little thing in regards. But you know, when I did research on the topic, you can find a lot of you could find a lot of Christian material on that, and it was pretty, what shall we say, radical in its view. You know, like we're just, people are just divorcing and finding another and divorcing and finding another and so forward. Oh, that is. But in regards of Christians, in regards of the sources, many of the sources out there, it's pretty radical in regards of, they actually go so far that, if you have one marriage and if it doesn't work out, just, you have to stay single. But that is not what Jesus says, in regards of if one of the, if one of the persons in the marriage commits adultery, well, then it seems to be, then it seems to be okay, then it seems at least possible, for divorce, But if there's no adultery in regards to the other partner, it's not a no. It's a no-go, and so that's the best that I can do, at least. So of course, getting the scale up in some sense. So that's pretty much it. I don't think don't have much more. I'll just continue reading. It is interesting, some of the things you have in regards to the Nazarenes. And again, it seems like the Jews did not get the memo that the law was abolished, because it seems like the Jewish groups understood that they should continue keeping the law. Here we go. But for example, these heresies, as he calls them, just mentioned, of which we are given a brief sketch, passing over the name of Jesus, did not call themselves Esaians or something like that, and did not keep the name Jews. They did not call themselves Christians, but Nazareans. That would be the first Christians, taking this name from the place Nazareth, but actually they remained wholly Jewish and nothing else. You can really, there is a lot of, anti-Semitism in the air in regards of the Gentile church and historical sources. It's absolutely disgusting, I think. But anyway, for they use not only the New Testament, and I'm not sure in regards of, because other sources says that the Nazarenes only use the book of Matthew, so in the Hebrew book of Matthew, but and discounted, again, we see sources that say that discounted the letters of Paulus, didn't want to have anything to do with the letters of Paulus, which pretty much would be on my footing as well. I try to stay away from his letters, but not to say that one cannot use his letters. One just has to be very careful, I think, because it leads to lawlessness. Actually, as they also talk about, in regards of lawlessness, in regards of Paul. So I think that's pretty much just shows that, they knew the Torah, they knew the background of the Jews and so forward. So they would have been easier to, it would have been easier for them to look, look what Paulus is actually saying. Because it seems like, even in our days, that in regards of even New Testament things and all that, that the Jews, they understand what is being said, because they have the background of even 2,000 years later, but, we have a little harder maybe to understand it because we don't have that background. At least some of the things, of course, they still deny that Jesus is God, but anyway. But live according to the preaching. Okay, let's see. Which are called. For they use not only the New Testament but also the Old, like the Jews. For the legislation and the prophets and the scriptures, I think in regards of the legislation, in regards of the book of Moses or the books of Moses, the law of God, which are called the Bible by the Jews, are not rejected by them as they are by these mentioned above. They are not at all mindful of other things, but live according to the preaching of the law. So that would be the Torah. They live according to the law, as among Jews. There is no fault to find with them apart from the fact that they have come to believe in Christ. You know how, just spin it around, So there's still continuing to keep the law of Moses, and they believe in Jesus Christ, and thereby they apparently, there's no fault apart with them apart from the fact that they have come to believe in Christ. That's not a fault, But again, they tend to, sometimes these Christian, whatever what you want to call it, really tend to spin a negative point of view in regards of Jews and Jews and Christian Jews. It's very there's this guy that is just over the top in regards of against of Judaism, and Gentiles beginning to do the law of Moses, and really we have like, was it like 6 sermons against it or more or something like that. It just it just goes on and on with so-called, I'm not sure what you call it, anti-Semitism, but I think it's a bad word. In anti-Jewish things, or anti-law, and of course they will continue to keep some kind of law. So they run to the Roman law, right? The Antichrist law. That's okay to keep the laws of the Antichrist, but the law of Jehovah, the laws that our master kept, they're bad, they're evil. You shouldn't keep those. But the Antichrist, that's good, that's okay. It's just turning things upside down. I think it's just disgusting. Anyway, for they also accept the resurrection of the dead, and that everything has its origin in God. They proclaim one God and His Son, Jesus Christ. Why would you call them heretics, in regards of... they have good mastery of the Hebrew language, and this is from like the 4th century, so we are, in some sense in regards to the end of the things that we have of information of them. They got a lot of persecution from both sides, both from Christians and the Jews. Language. For the entire law and the prophets and what is called scriptures, I mentioned the poetic books, Kings, Chronicles, and he also mentioned Esther here in regards to the 400. I had the other source where he didn't mention, it was from a Christian source from Asia Minor, from the 2nd century, and he doesn't mention Esther. Could have been a mistake, but again, Esther is adding to the Torah as far as I can see in regards of the festival of Purim, and I know the sages of the Jews had issues with that as well and talked about it. And all the others are read by them in Hebrew, as is the case with the Jews, of course. So it seems like the Gentile Christian believers thinks that we shouldn't read or study the Old Testament, the so-called Old Testament, which are still called the Law and the Prophets here actually. So that's nice, at least. Anyway, only in this respect they differ from Jews and Christians. Yeah, that's here's where they actually get in trouble with both of them. With the Jews, they do not agree because of their belief in Christ. Yeah, they gotta. If you look at Jewish sources in regards to the minim, they write about burning their texts, and the name of God is apparently in those texts. So they're talking about what should we do in regards to the name of God being in it. Should we take them out before we burn the text and so forward? So we know the name of God was in the Christian text, probably Matthew, the book of Matthew, and whatever else they had. But anyway, with the Christians, because they're trained in the law, in circumcision, the Sabbath, and other things. So again, as I can see it, in regards of history, Satan has just been out there with his censor pen, and there's a lot of, it seems to be, a lot of Christians also in Asia Minor that actually was following the law, was continuing, Gentile Christians, and you see the hatred against God's law, and so they, of course, the things that get censored get destroyed. So both by the Jews destroying the Nazarenes text, and of course by Christians, Rome usually. So anyway, with regard to Christ, I cannot say whether misled by the wickedness of, anyway. So it talks a little about where they went, and actually it talks about the and remember, he's calling them heretics, So remember, he's calling them heretics, and just listen to this. For from there, it took its beginning after the Exodus from Jerusalem. So these people are from Jerusalem. When all the disciples went to live in Pella, because Christ had told them to leave Jerusalem and to go away, since it would undergo a siege. So this is in regards of before 70, in regards of the Romans coming down and destroying, or in regards of Jerusalem. So the what do you call it? The Jewish Christians fled to Pella at that point. They didn't want to take part in the battle. And as I understand it, the Jews actually became, angry at them because they thought if they had stayed, maybe they could have, stood against the Romans. And the second time also that the Jews apparently became really angry at them, as I understand it, was in regards of Bar Kokhba, when they again fought against the Romans, and pretty much that so-called Messiah, Bar Kokhba, failed. But the Nazarenes, as I understand it, wouldn't take part in that because, they already had their Messiah, and that was Jesus. So you see, they were hated by both the Christian Christian Gentiles, even if they were Christians, because they kept the law, and the Jews hated them because they believe in Jesus. So it seems like to be the middle road. And you get persecution when you take that road. So, but these have also erred in boasting of circumcision, and such are still under a curse, not being able to fulfill the law. So, and then he goes into, well, how are they going to fulfill the law? And then he talks about the Feast of Unleavened Bread, Tabernacles, and the Feast of Weeks, where they are to go up to Jerusalem. So apparently, this guy knows a little in regards to the Torah, yet, we end up with these Gentile traditions, or what do you call it, pagan traditions in regards to Christ Mass, Easter, and Halloween, and the rest of fairy tales, satanic fairy tales, and all that, instead of actually keeping those feast days as they did in Asia Minor. But again, corruption apparently comes by, you have corruption everywhere. And again, there's a lot of material that we don't have today that would have been lovely, but we still have some pieces here and there, and just wonderful. Melito has like a whole sermon thing on Passover. And, I actually got another source that he actually kept the Sabbath. So, but I would also have by what I know, the Christians kept the Sabbath. It was, as I understand it from a historical source, only Rome and Alexander where they kept Sunday. And then, of course, wickedness spreads out. And, so we just need to turn the boat around and keep the Sabbath and keep the festivals and, get closer to the truth instead of keeping all these pagan traditions from Antichrist. Antichrist in Rome. But he thinks that the law is abolished in some sense because Jesus fulfilled it. And that's, the same thing that a lot of Christians will say. but the law still stands until heaven and earth is, and heaven and earth is still out there. But that's one way of them actually, Jesus fulfilled the law and so forward. But we have other sources that don't agree with that, from Jewish sources that didn't understand what Jesus was saying in that sense, that it was, and as we know, our Master kept the law to perfection, and thereby, if we are his disciples, we should follow along. It's not to say that we are perfect in any way, but that's why we have Jesus, right? But that's not to say that we should just throw it out, the law of our God. Let's see if I can find it. May not actually be that easy to find it. It's said to be a letter from Peter. Not sure if it's authentic, but at least it shows that there was people that did not understand. And again, we know the Ebionites rejected Paul, and from the two other sources, it might actually also have been the Nazarenes, which again would not be a surprise. Also because the Asia Minor, apparently, Jesus is, making Apostle John write to them, and they apparently seem to keep the festivals and knew about the law and so forth. It seems to me that they actually continued a lot in regards to the law. Let's see, where is it? It's a little hard to find here. This is said to be Ebonite material. It's actually a pretty big book in regards of information. But that's not to say that there isn't any issues in it, of course. It would have been nice to see what the Nazarenes had besides the book of Matthew. Here we have 254. And of course, in regards to the Ebonites, talks also that the law is not abolished and so forward. Here we go. Here is said to be a letter from Peter, but again, it may not be authentic, but again, it just shows that there was other views on things. And this I know not as being a prophet, but as already seeing the beginning of this very evil. For some from among the Goyim, or the nations, nations, have rejected my Torah observant preaching, attaching themselves to certain Torah-less and trifling preaching of the man who is my enemy. Now that could be Simon, but of course it could also maybe be Paul. But anyway, in any case, and these things some have attempted while I am still alive, to transform my words by certain various interpretations, in order to bring about the dissolution of the Torah, as though I also myself were of such mind, but did not freely proclaim it, which Jehovah forbid. For such a thing were to act in opposition to the Torah of Jehovah, which was spoken by Moses, and was borne witness by our Master, that would be Jesus, in respect of its ageless continuance, for thus he spoke. So now they're quoting him. The skies and the earth shall pass away, but one jot or one punctuation mark shall in no wise pass from the Torah. And this he has said, that all things might come to pass. But these men, professing, I know not how to know my mind, undertake to explain my words, which they have heard of me more intelligently than I who spoke them, telling their disciples that this is my meaning, which indeed I never thought of. But if while I am still alive they dare thus to misrepresent me, how much more will those who shall come after me dare to do so? So here we have apparently a letter that is said to be from Peter, saying that, you know, this was not what Jesus was teaching, and this is going against the Torah of Moses, going against, you know, it would be against the Torah of Jehovah. You know, there's a lot of other teachings in regard to the Torah, and that, you know, but, you know, yeah. So, but a lot of Christians apparently think the law of God is abolished, but the thing is, you know, if we don't know the law of God, you know, Satan will deceive us and lead us astray, you know. If we don't read the scriptures, we will be led astray. Satan will have no issue in leading us astray into his pagan satanic festivals, his pagan satanic sun calendar, his cookie Jesus, his well, maybe that's, but you know, you get the, you know, he will just you know, put evolution is in our mind, you know, which is not you know, it's a pagan satanic doctrine and not biblical. There are also in regards of warnings in regards against false prophets as well. And he, terrified by this answer, that would be Satan, and fearing lest the true obedience of the one and true Jehovah should be restored, hastened straightway to send forth into this world false prophets and false apostles and false, I think it's disciples, but I'm not sure, Morim. I might get that wrong, but you know, followers or something like that. Anyway, some kind of we have the prophets, we have the apostles, and Morim. I'm not sure what that is. You know, it's like I have a version here with some Hebrew and some Morim. I think it was. Let's see if we have it here. Morim. Morim. Let's see if it actually has it, because even if there's words that is not English, it doesn't mean that they actually have it in the no, it's no, there's no more ream here. There's Moshiach. Nope. Yep. So that's just, you know, when you have a translation using Hebrew words and it doesn't even say what these things means in the back of where there's some Hebrew words. That's just bad. That's just yeah, it doesn't really help, does it? No. So anyway, who should speak indeed in the name of the Moshiach, you know, Christ, but should accomplish the will of the demon, you know, Satan. So observe the greatest caution that you believe no teacher unless he brings from Jerusalem the testimonial of Yaakov, Yeshua's brother, or of whosoever may come after him. For no one, unless he has gone up hither, that would be to Jerusalem, and there has been approved as a fit and faithful teacher for preaching the word of Moshiach, the words of Christ, unless I say he brings a testimonial hence, is by any means to be received. But let neither prophets nor apostle be looked for by you at this time, besides us, for there is one prophet of truth, whose words we 12 apostles preach, for he is the accepted year of Jehovah. So and so forward. And they talk, of course, in regards of turning away from, you know, lawlessness, and turning to keeping the law. Now, of course, we have prophecies in regards of lawlessness as well. Actually, I was just reading in regards of Matthew, and you have a parable from Jesus Christ. Oh, that I can't see anything with those glasses. You have a parable with 2 seconds. Just need to see if I can get some. There we go. Much better. You have a parable in regards of Matthew. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. Should be actually 5 maybe. That was too long. Matthew. Chronicles. I think it was like Matthew 7 or something. He's talking about parables at least someplace. Babbling like the Gentiles. No. Okay. Oh yeah. Now this is actually this is Matthew 7:20 in regards of and that's where he says, and then I shall declare to them, I never knew you, depart from me, you who work lawlessness. Now this is in regards of future, and he's talking about rotten trees and good trees, and that they yield either good fruit or wicked fruit. Wicked fruit would also be in some sense of lawlessness, wickedness. In some sense, another word, when we commit wickedness. But there is in regards of a parable in regards of... That's a good question where it is. I know he talks about it somewhere. The question is where? Directly? Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. So it was actually on the lowest level. I have a lower level here. Let's see. There we go. But it needs to just come a little more up. Where is it in regards of... It should be... No. Where at is that? Let me remove the splendor. No. Maybe I can find it in the program, maybe by the search. I just read it not long ago. Let's see. What could it be? What could it be? What are we going to search on? The seeds maybe? Yep, seeds. Okay, and that was only one. Okay, one more. Oh yeah, we need to have the New Testament Gospels. There we go. We need to search. Okay, let's see. And when he had sowed some... Okay, that's actually also a good parable in regards of Matthew 13:4, because we're told that... Maybe I should... No. Let's... Because we're told that we should keep... we should be careful. Satan is coming to try to take away our faith and so forward. And as in regards, it's 4 different things in, let's see, but actually it was not what I was looking for, but that's a good parable as well, that we, Satan is running around as a lion trying to, destroy us in some sense. And we have a lot of people that has been Christians before, and then they turn against Christianity and reject it. So that would be fulfilling the seeds, I think, in regards of the parable that Jesus is talking about. There's 4 different places where the seeds are falling down, or something like that. And the first place they get scorned, and the second place and he tells what the idea of the parable is and all that. Let's see. Here we go. He talks about the seeds. Yeah. Oh yeah, here we go. There we go. Another parable he put forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. Now the field is the world. But while the man slept, his enemy came and sowed. The enemy would be Satan, came and sowed tares among the wheat, or the devil, and went into his way. But then the blade sprung up. The grass grow and animal graze. Okay, so they spring up. They begin to spring up. Begin to grow. Sprung up and brought forth fruit. Then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seeds in thy field? From hence then had it tares. And tares, that would be they call it in Greek, they call it sisanion. but a kind of darnel, usually the darnel, had its tares, and said unto them, an enemy had done this. The servant said unto him, wilt thou then, the servant says on this, that are angels, I'm getting tired here, are angels. The servant said unto him, wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Now the wheat are the law-abiding seeds. Those are the good, law-abiding, eatable seeds. And the tares, the what is it called? Tares, the darnel. The darnel are the poisonous, which has the poisonous fruits, are the lawless seeds. But they look alike, they look much like the, if you look on the internet and compare darnel in regards of wheat, you can see the differences, but it's look alike a little, but the fruit is bad, it's poisonous. And in regards of, that would be in regards of lawlessness, I think. In regards, you have the good fruit, you have the good tree, coming forth with good fruit in regards of the law abiding, keeping the law and so forward. And then you have the lawless trees, that put forward rotten fruit in some sense. Anyway, and bind them, okay. So I will say to the reapers, wait. Let both grow together unto the harvest. So that's where we are in the world at the moment. And in the time of harvest, that's future, I will say to the reapers, that would be the angels, gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them. But gather the wheat into my barn. So that's the law-abiding, good, eatable seeds, the Jesus into the barn. So, and he explains the parable later. Anyway, I'm getting tired. I need to break off, I think. But you can read it for yourself, and it's the book of Matthew. Jesus explains the parable. We have good seeds, we have bad seeds, we have the good eatable Oh yeah, in regards of, actually, that's what, I forget something. Let's see if we can find it. Maybe there's a little too much, my eye seems a little strained. Oh. Where is it? Oh yeah, here we go. So this is in regards of the bad seeds. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend. And offend in regards of, what is the move, stick, trigger, trap, snares. Yeah, okay. Stumbling block, I think I've seen a translation as well. And them which do, this is future prophecy, iniquity, lawlessness, anomia, the condition of without law. So those that are without law, those that are lawless. So contempt and violation of the law, iniquity, wickedness. Well, we have a lot of Christians that hate and abhors the law of God and thinks it's done away with. Here we have another word, illegality, that is violation of law, or generally wickedness, iniquity, transgression of the law, unrighteousness. This is a future prophecy. In the future, the law has not been done away. The law is still standing. Of course, we know the love will grow cold in this world because of lawlessness. Doesn't sound to me that the law of God has been removed. And again, it's not the law of Caesar. It's not the law of Antichrist. It's not the law of the governments. It's the law of Jesus Christ, or the law of God. The law of Jehovah. The law of Moses. The Mosaic law, you know. If we are going against, and we are going more and more against that, Satan is just taking more root or the people are leaving God's instructions more and more and turning to wickedness, lawlessness. They are going against Jehovah's law, where he told us what we shouldn't do and what we should do, and we don't want to do what he says we should do, but we want to do with the things that he doesn't say we should do. We're turning it, Satan turning it upside down, and and there we go. In regards of circumcision, for example, there's like a whole, there's a huge, what do you call it, a lot of people against circumcision like this and circumcision like that, and using really good, really good arguments and so forward. But what about the children getting murdered? No, that's okay. Okay. That's okay to murder children, but, circumcising a child, that's the worst thing on earth. But, murdering a child, that's okay. Just see how insane it is, One thing God commanded in regards of circumcision, the other thing God was against, do not murder. And yet we just, run with, it just makes totally sense that the devil is leading us astray here, Why would people be so appalled by circumcision but defend murder on children? It can only be demonic, just totally destroying so many lives. But there's no screaming about that. That's like a human right, to destroy another life. But, to do circumcision, oh, that's just the worst thing in the whole world, Just try to, look at both of them, I just, and in regards of circumcision, it's actually not really, I'm circumcised now. I wasn't circumcised, but I was circumcised like a year ago or something like that. And people making it a great deal. Oh, I was circumcised, and oh, my sex life has been destroyed or whatever and all that. Oh, give me a break, Get a real issue, So anyway, so it's not really for me. It's not really a big issue in regards to that. I just don't. I don't see why people complain so much about, oh, I was circumcised and so forth. Well, if you have a problem in regards of, you having been circumcised, well, don't circumcise your children then, If you have a big problem with it, just, shouldn't be that difficult, should it, But I think people are making a bigger deal than it actually in some sense is, at least if you weigh it in regards of murdering our children, which like we are murdering millions of children, in this world. Well, that's okay. I don't have the number, in regards of the world and all that, but as on it, around 1 million children in Denmark, just in Denmark. That's like, how many millions are we? Are we like 7 million or something like that? And we have murdered nearly 1 million or around 1 million since 1973. Yeah, way to go, Denmark. That's just the most disgusting thing, ever. But you can play the whore. Well, sometimes you become pregnant, and then of course you then have to apparently become a murderer as well, because it's apparently the child's fault that you went out, having some fun outside marriage, So, and you say it's your, well, so you murder an innocent life. That would actually be, I think that's actually stoning reason in the Bible when you murder another life. So I don't think we should, we should stop doing it. Of course, we are all sinners, but we should stop doing things that are wrong. We should go the right direction and not the wrong direction, and we're just heading more and more in the wrong direction. But of course, who listens to me? No one listens to me anyway. So apparently, no one wants to hear about the Bible anymore, or what is in the Bible, or So apparently, it's like a nut house in some sense. We have had, in Denmark, we have been served on the plate a Bible without even being murdered. We can read this in our days. Do we want to do it? No. Nope. We have other interesting things to do, like looking at witchcraft in the television, like Harry Potter and, false gods characters and, paganism, and murderer in television and, just action-filled things and so forward. Keeping us occupied, but not reading our Bibles and not knowing what God likes and what He hates. Anyway, so it doesn't seem to me that the law is abolished by any sense, because we still have law. Still have prophecies about lawlessness. Jesus also talks about something in the future in regards to in regards of not being in the winter or not being on the Sabbath. Why would He say in regards to the Sabbath if the law is abolished? Well, maybe because the Sabbath is still in effect. So anyway, but of course it's because people read too much of Paul. If they read anything in the Bible, they read Paul, use Paul, continue to do all their paganistic things like Christmas and Easter and Halloween, and lying to the children about Santa Claus or Satan Claus and the Easter rabbit that laying eggs and whatever, the tooth fairy and gnomes and whatever else there is out there. I'm not sure. There's probably other things out there of weird things. Anyway, I'll stop this now. I was actually just talking about in regards of adultery, right? And then of course people will say, well, there's actually more, what do you call it? There's actually more, what is it called? Divorce in regards of Christians than there actually is with atheists or other people in regards to that. Well, maybe it's because other people don't, commit to a marriage anymore. They just are together, but they don't marry the other one. So because Christians still, marry, you don't really have a true picture of things, because people that doesn't marry and just live with one partner and then find another partner without ever getting married are not recorded in regards of divorcing in some sense, because they just see them as partner. They were actually not married with them. They never saw it as a marriage. It was just we maybe be together 1 year or 2 years and then getting tired of each other, then finding another one and so forward. And that, of course, is not registered, but it's registered that the Christians are divorcing, which of course they shouldn't do. But anyway, the world is falling. We are becoming more and more wicked, and iniquity is rising. Lawlessness is rising. It's going the wrong way, and it's really, really awful here in Denmark. 82% in Denmark, apparently an article said 82% in Denmark are evolutionist. How can 82% of the people in Denmark be evolutionist when they have a Bible to read? and they should be able to think for themselves, and there's huge amount of information out there. But of course, maybe it's because these things are actually not shown in the television, and the things of Christian things that are shown in the television is like mocking Christianity. They're just taking things they can mock instead of actually just. So it's going downhill. It's really sad. It's we don't know our history. We don't know who the Antichrist is anymore. We don't know who the whore is according to the Bible, prophesied in the Bible. We don't know anything about it anymore because we don't study the Bible, and the shepherd standing on the podium or whatever, speaking us, are not telling the people. So anyway, have a good day. I'm going, I'm going off. Bye bye.